Now, the 917 was the historic godfather, basically, of modern sports car racing. But this was the car I grew up watching, which was the 956, 962 here in the U.S., because World Sports Cars, which was Group C, also raced in the U.S., similar cars, similar format as IMSA, even back when I was a kid in the 80s. And this was one of my favorite cars. This is the Rothmans 956. Now, I dreamt about these cars for many, many years, and I just want to say, one of the first things you notice about these is that they don't have any problem using the original liveries. They don't have to get permission or anything like that to make these. This is a pretty good likeness. We'll get into it now. All right, here we are. This is the glorious 956, or possibly a 962. We don't really know what this model is, other than because of the Rothmans livery, we presumably it's a 956. You might be wondering what the difference is. Well, without getting too much into Porsche history, let's just say that the predecessor to it, the 917, and there was a car in between, but we don't talk about that. The 917, which had a similar look to it, which we just talked about, had a flat 12 in it. This has a flat 6 in it, but it is turbocharged. The difference between a 956 and a 962 primarily is that the 956 has a shorter distance between the axle and the driver and wasn't considered to be as safe. So they were rebuilt and revised into a longer version, the 962, because of regulations in the United States with IMSA. And pretty much over time, they all became 962s. There are a lot of these. This particular representation of one is from the early, or I should say the mid-80s. So it's about 15 years after the 917 we looked at. And this would also have run at Le Mans and won. This particular one, like the 917, comes with, you can get stickers to do the driver, and it comes with wheel choices, or I should say hubcap choices. Now, I haven't punched out the center caps of these, but you get the general idea. I will say that this is a pretty chunky model overall. While it does capture the look of the 956 and the 962, it's definitely got a heftiness to it. This actually would be very playable. It's quite sturdy. You can see it's very heavily built underneath, and it has a nice under tray with the taillights there. And this is very playable. Whereas the 917 was kind of fragile, this you can bounce around. Nothing's going to fall off it. It's really a great model. Now, you may have heard something rattling in there. Oh, I should point out that these intakes here and this ductwork is all stickers. And I do think it's nice how the stickers, never mind the fuzzies, the stickers nicely integrate from one piece to the other. And if you see that, these are two separate pieces, two separate stickers. So very clever how they did that. Probably the hardest part about building this is this sticker on the back. And you can see mine's very slightly not in the center, but what you going to do? So they're rattling around in there. Well, let's take a look inside the cockpit. There's the other hubcap option. And there's the interior, or such as it is. I mean, these are not interior models, really. And as I recall, this is the one I had to cut out with my razor blade so that I could get the proper window effect. So if you look really, really closely, you might be able to see where my knife was not perfect, my knife work, but I tried to get that pretty close. Anyway, so that's how that would go. Now, this is not how the doors open on the real car. They swing up and outward. This is just because of the way the Lego piece is. Now, what I do want to show you that I think is kind of cool about this, there's not really a lot to this one as far as building techniques go that I want to highlight. I mean, like literally, if I pull this off, underneath here it's just solid. It's just solid bricks. This thing is noticeably heavier. It's just solid. It's solid bricks. I keep calling them Lego, but you know what I mean. But what I do think is kind of cool is the way it went together. One of the things I noted was you can pop off this whole nose, kind of like that. This is actually just a panel piece stuck on end in there. And then you can see how this assembly is actually oriented the other way. I thought that was pretty clever. Yeah, I am aware that I put these stickers on. These lower sponsors they should be the other way around, but I will go back and fix that someday. Since I do have 2 sticker sheets with all these, that's possible. But if you take that off and you pop off the fenders, the front fenders like that, This actually is what they look like when they're in the pits or when they're having the nose replaced. They actually look basically like this, or after a crash. Like I've watched a lot of races and I've seen this look on a 962, 956 many times. So I just kind of thought that was kind of funny how you could do that. But again, it just goes together. It's all it's pretty chunky, this model, and it's quite sturdy. So if you were looking for one to get to train up a young race fan, this would be an excellent choice because it is just meant to be played with. It's hard to put it together when I'm got this phone on the way. But anyway, so that's that one. None of these come with paper instructions, but what they come with is a link to a PDF. Now this might vary depending on who you buy it from. I won't send links or include links because I just can't. There's so many variables as to what's available when. But when you do get them, what you'll notice is that the instructions are very much done in the Lego style, and they include where the decals go and things like that. And I find them very easy to follow. There was, in the case of the Jaguar, and I think in the case of the 956, some questions about colors sometimes because they were a little bit off. And if I can find it, I will give you another example. So you'll see on the Ferrari, that is black, not yellow. So sometimes there's weird little things like that. But otherwise, these are very easy to follow. You could print them out if you really needed to. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little tour through my Lego race car garage. Even though, as we discussed, they're not Lego. But gosh, they're pretty cool. And I hope that you are going to be watching IMSA and finding yourself some interesting things to build regardless of who makes them.